Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you today. I hope you're set and tuned in. So it's always a pleasure to have you around. My name is Jonan Kanwan. I'm the Managing Director at Jonaki Holdings Limited. And at Jonaki Holdings Limited, we lend money. We lend money affordably. We give you money that you can afford at affordable rates, processed in a very short time. So we are here to serve you. You can always check us out on our website at www.jonakiholdings.com. So we basically meet here to discuss business. More so, I've been focusing majorly on what we do best, and that is money lending. As I always say, each one of us has ever lent money. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, you've ever lent money. Whether interest-free or on interest, you've ever lent money. And usually, the outcome is usually the same. Whether you've lent money interest-free or with interest, there's even a high likelihood of default rate when you lend money without interest. They will still can default on that. They can still refuse to pay you. So why not lend out at a particular interest rate? Why not? You can lend it out at a particular rate, affordable. Yes, at a small fee. So if you've been doing it informally, now is the time that you formalize it, and we know that, you know what, this person, this guy is specialized in lending money. And yes, you'll support very many services. Yes, so if you're lending money, formalize the thing so that you're known for that you lend money. If you've been lending it out or giving it out interest-free, I had a quote from someone that you should give out money or lend out money informally that you can afford to lose. Because if you lose that money, there's nowhere you can take that person. You can't sue that person, you can't take them on, because it was a friendly basis. And that's how friendships get lost. If you have a friend that you love so much, do not lend to them. If you have a need of 400,000, if you can afford it, give them the money. Don't lend to them. Give them the money and know that you've given. But if you're lending, you might lose that friendship. I've lost a few friendships because of that. And I learned the hard way. So I'm here to save you that burden. You either lend out formally, where you don't even get to engage with a client. Someone else can serve them properly with great service, and you do business. So today we're talking about money lending and the law. Money lending and the law. What does the law say about money lending? How can you maneuver? You as a client, do you know your rights? Do you know what you're meant to do and what you're not meant to do? So it is pertinent. Ignorance of the law does not save you from losing. If I do something just because I do not understand the law, it does not mean that I shall not lose out. Ignorance is no defense. And this applies to all areas. For example, if one of the requirements for a business to sue or to be sued is to be registered or incorporated, and you're not incorporated, definitely you cannot start anywhere. If someone defrauds you, you cannot. Even if you have a good deal that you want to take on, if the law says you have to be incorporated as a company, definitely if you're not incorporated, you cannot take on the business. So the law is law. Whether you know it or not, you will bid, and if the company is not registered, definitely they will turn you down. And you start saying that, you know what, I think it's because I don't have connections. I think it's because I don't have anyone I know in that institution. No, it's not because of that. It's because your company is not registered. and the law requires that the institution deals with not with an individual but with a company that is fully registered and fully fledged to deliver that product or services. So before you blame the system and the connections, first organize yourself. That's the good news I'm telling you. So we are talking about money lending and the law. So you have the Money Lenders Act and the regulations. So the Act stipulates the do's and the don'ts of a money lender. Tier 4 microfinance institutions and money lenders. So this Act governs the money lenders as well as Tier 4 microfinance institutions. That means SACCOs, that means those small microfinance institutions, the actual starters, the money lenders at a lower level. So surely, that is the Act. But again, so if you have an Act, you cannot implement it without the regulations. For example, every Act has to be supported with the regulations to ease the implementation of the Act. So we have the Money Lenders Act and the regulations. Act of 2016 and the regulations of 2018. Usually, it's the Act first and then the regulations after. Why? Because you already have to have the Act in place to accompany it with the regulations that will help in the implementation of the Act. So if you read the Act and you do not read the regulations, you might not, yes, you might get a picture of what it is that is governing you as a money lender or Tier 4 microfinance institution, but you might not get the detail on how that is implemented. For example, some of the annexes that are attached to the regulations are as much as loan application forms, how it's supposed to be structured. There are some clauses that you're meant to have in your loan application form, that you're meant to have in your agreement. For an agreement to be binding between you and the client, between you, the money lender, and the client, there are some clauses you have to include. So meaning that if you've not read the regulations, it might be very hard. Some of the lawyers actually that we engage to draft for us some of the documents have not read these things. So if you're there and you're the MD or CEO and you're not on top of your game, you do not understand your industry, and you bank on the lawyer, he's going to draft for you a quarter agreement. And when the client goes haywire, which is most likely because you cannot have all the clients go your way. Some of the clients are tricky, and definitely if you're in business, you expect such anomalies. If you think you're going to go straight up and the curve is going to be straight going up, I'll laugh at you. If you're a business person, you definitely expect ups and downs. So meaning that if you lend money, you expect that some clients are going to default. So somewhere, if they default, you've got to take them on. But you can't take them on if you do not understand the law. You can't take them on if your documents that they signed, that you drafted for them, are shaky. If they have loopholes, clients can take you on. And the interesting bit is that in these clients that we save, we also have fraudsters. I've done a session on the fraudsters and their tricks. You look it up on my YouTube page, John and Kandwanaho. So these fraudsters, interestingly, they know the law. So by the time they come for your money, they actually know the loopholes that you have. A fraudster can read your agreement and know that, you know what, this one is not legally binding. And definitely, if he takes the money with that mind, he will take you on in the courts of the law. And you'll have nothing to do to this guy. Why? Because you have the loopholes in your documents. So it's pertinent that you understand the regulations and see the clauses that you're meant to include in your loan agreement. For example, if you do a loan agreement and you do not have a letter of offer, you do not have a confirmation that you actually give this guy the money. For example, it is given that you should not give cash. There are some guys who will come, knowingly or unknowingly, with intentions to defraud or not, that they want cash. But if you understand the law, that you need a track record of the evidence on how the transaction has happened, or even to confirm that the actual recipient, who is the client, has received the money, then you have to insist that the money has to go through the account. So you can imagine, if you do not understand the law, that you have to have a trace of how the money moves you definitely will give the guy cash. And lo and behold, when you get to the courts of the law, the first thing they'll ask, did you transact? Yes. Did you wire the money? Yes. Where is the evidence that you wired the money? And the client can even ask you, where is the evidence that the money reached me? So if the client has an account in their names and you actually wired the money on their account with a trail, it will confirm that actually the client received the money. If you get a court order to go and study the client's account, definitely their bank statement is going to confirm that actually this guy received the money. So you might lose a little bit on the interest, or if you're firm enough, you might actually follow up and recover principal and the interest. But more so, you have the evidence of the interest of the principal that you wired to this client while they're accessing the loan. So if you're naive and you do not understand the law and what it is that it says, definitely you will not take on this person. Now, the intention is not to take on this client. The intention is to plan that in case something goes haywire, you have where to start from. Because not all clients are the same, as I said. Not all clients are for your good. Definitely, in serving the clients, you'll serve the good clients. You'll definitely have very nice clients. As a matter of fact, Jonah Key Holdings Limited, we have very amazing clients. So not all of them are bad. But you need to plan for any eventuality in case the client is not as good, in case something goes wrong. So you have to acquaint yourself with what it is that is happening in your industry. What it is that is happening in your industry before you even engage a lawyer. It's until you know a particular clause that you can tell your lawyer that, you know what, I think according to this clause, subsection this, it requires that this clause should be in a loan agreement, that this clause should be in a letter of offer. Because when you're starting business, usually, you need to engage someone who is affordable. And some of the lawyers who are too affordable do not either put in effort to study and understand your industry, or they do not know what is happening in that industry. So just because you can afford that person, you engage them. Because the ones that are advanced in that industry, perhaps you cannot afford them. You're a starter. As a matter of fact, most of the business people who are just starting, most of the entrepreneurs who are just starting, they rarely engage the lawyers. So even if you engage the lawyer and you understand the law, yes, it will be cheap for you, but also it will help you a lot because you understand your industry. So you won't be taken for a ride, and you might learn the hard way. As I usually tell you, in money lending, if you're going to learn the hard way, there's a likelihood you can close shop. You can lose business, the whole of it. Because you can imagine if I have capital of 30 million or 20 million, I'm just starting, isn't it? You don't start with 100 million or 1 billion. Usually not. So you want to start with a small amount of money and then you grow in the industry. So you can imagine if you started with a capital of 20 million or 30 million, and this client comes, client comes for a loan, and you do that paperwork, and it has some loopholes, and he took a loan of 20 million out of the 30. You literally are remaining with 10 million. If this deal goes wrong, you tell me, for how long are you going to thrive in this industry? You might get out of business. Because even to engage this person to actually recover the money, you need to engage them when your documents are sound. If your documents are not sound, most likely you're going to lose the case. You're going to lose the case. So I advise that you first get good at your game. First, understand the industry that you're operating in. Understand the industry that you're operating in. Understand the law governing the industry. And then you can actually launch out. Even when you're engaging at an informed point of view, you'll be able to engage very well. You'll know that this lawyer is quara or this lawyer is knowledgeable. So it is pertinent For example, if I ask the question on the side of the client, because you also ought to understand before you go for a loan, what are the laws that govern this industry? What is it that is my right? What is it that I'm meant to do or not? Because there are also money lenders who are after taking clients' property. Someone says that, you know what, before I give you a loan, the guy is giving you a loan of 10 million, you're committing a property worth 100 million. So you need to be secure with your property, especially if you do not know the money lender. Because there are some money lenders as well who have even tainted our images and tainted the image of the money lenders. The intention is not for them to recover from you, but rather to actually defraud you of your property. I mean, this is your hard-earned property that you've worked for quite a while. So you cannot afford to lose it in a second. But how many people have you had who have lost their property with hard-earned money? Over a loan of 10 million, the guy commits a property worth 100 million, and he loses it just like that. Just like that. And yet, if the person understood the law, if the person was acquainted with what it is that is governing the law or governing the industry, they would have survived. For example, if I ask, do you ever realize that in the law, it's not allowed for you to give a lender transfer forms? You're not meant to transfer your property to the lender's names. If you come to Jonaki Holdings Limited, we do not ask you to transfer your land title to us. It's not allowed in the law. So if you're a borrower and you urgently need money, someone might press you to the wall to transfer the title. And some of the guys who even do that are not having good intentions to you at will. Usually their intentions are different. Because if I understand the law and I know you're not meant to transfer your property, why on earth would I have to force you to transfer the property? I understand there are some lenders also who are for the goodwill, and the client is okay with it, they transfer the property. But in the law, it's not allowed. So if it's going to be a condition on your end, just know it is not allowed. But if you've not read the Money Lenders Act, Tier 4 Microfinance Institution and Money Lenders Act and the regulations, you will not know that it's your right that ABCD happens. You've heard of the lenders. The time comes for payment and the person is nowhere to be seen. This guy has your property. He gave you perhaps 100 million at maybe 10% per month. That is 10 million per month. The month elapses, you're willing to pay the capital, the principal and the interest, but the guy is nowhere to be seen. Do you know what the law is telling you to do as a borrower? Do you just look on and the date passes and you're just having the guy's money and he's dodging you so that he can take on your property? You need to understand the law. The law stipulates that you can take this money to court, or you can actually bank the money. Bank the money with the guy's account and keep with your receipt. So long as the date is not passed, then you actually can claim your property, your collateral. Do you ever realize that the law even guarantees you that you can go to UMRA, the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, and deposit the money with them? So that you can go and claim that, you know what, this lender wants to defraud me of my property. He gave me money for 1 month, 100 million, at 10%, I have brought my 110 million to him. The month is barely ending. It is 28th. It is 30th. So it's just 1 month. And I'm calling him or I'm going to pay and he's dodging me. Make your statement and you're good at your game. So most of the people have lost their property because they do not have knowledge of what it is that is happening in the industry. So it's pertinent that you understand the law. And I've always told you guys, some of these things we didn't learn them from the word go. That's why you need someone to walk the journey with you. That's why you need someone to mentor you in this industry. Because if you go wrong in our industry, the mistakes are very, very costly. The mistakes are very costly. The cost that you pay, the cost that you incur is very high. Yes, granted, some of the mentors, some of the coaches, some of the guys who are doing it well in this industry cost their services. But what would it cost you to pay $100, let's say, and it saves you a loss worth 10 million or 50 million or 30 million? Because you're dealing in money, you're transacting in money. So you need to be good at your game. Because any silly mistake, any wrong deal costs you way higher than how much you'd have paid this guy to guide you or to help you. And as a key point to note is that engage someone who is doing something that you're actually doing. People are knowledgeable just on the tongue. People have the information, but they've not applied it. And you can know someone who is speaking from the informed point of view, who is actually applying the same concept, or someone who is just talking for the sake of talking. This world needs actual doers, not talkers. If you're in business, you actually have to be a doer as well. If you come to me and you want me to mentor you or walk the journey with you, and you barely have nothing, you've not started anything, you've not even lent out to anyone, or you've not even studied your industry, it is a waste of time. Even when you're paying for a service, it is a waste of time. I won't be ashamed to tell you, you know what? First, organize yourself. Because I would like to work again with someone who is actually progressing, who is also growing. It's not a matter of meeting, it's not a matter of engagement, it's a matter of growth. I have to be certain that you're going somewhere, that you're headed somewhere. That I can meet you at a particular point and say, you know what? This guy went through my hands and I'm proud to associate with you. But if you cannot, and you're just here for the sake of here, sorry. So it's important that in choice of a person you're going to engage, it could be any other business, not necessarily money lending. Make sure the person is good at their game. Make sure the person is knowledgeable. Make sure the person is doing the actual things that they are telling you to do. Because how else do you know that someone is giving you katwa? Is giving you something that is not applied. Is giving a concept that he read from the book. He is not certain whether it's working or not. So what if it doesn't work and it costs you a lot of money? So you had better learn on something that you're certain that it's working. It saves you time, it saves you huge costs, and it will save you, it will inform your growth. So irrespective of the industry you're in, irrespective of the business that you're running, make sure that you engage a mentor. Make sure that you walk that journey with someone. I know, I am very, very certain that in that industry you're in, there is someone who is doing it better. There is someone who is doing it at another level. There is someone who is highly experienced. There is someone that you envy, that you look at and like, you know what? I want to be there. Yes, engage that someone and they teach you how to get there. Because there are some challenges that they went through that you're most likely, if you're playing in the same industry, that you're most likely going to go through. And some of the mistakes are very costly to the extent that they can actually get you out of business. So how about you counter them before you get out of business? So it is my request, my humble request to you, that you engage someone who is advanced, and then 2, understand your industry, understand the law governing that industry. The law governing that industry. More so money lending. Understand the law governing money lending. And you, if you're a borrower, you're a client, understand the law as well, because you can be taken for a ride. You can be taken advantage of. Someone can hold up. Someone can hold up onto your collateral, and yet according to the law, you're not allowed, the lender is not allowed to take you on just like that. So guys, as I come to a closure, yes, as I come to conclude, my humble request is understand your industry, understand the law. Because everything that we do begins and falls back on the law. The requirements to register a company falls back on the law. The requirements to lend, if you lend money, falls back on the law. Almost every industry is regulated by the law, is governed by the law. And every industry has its challenges. All those challenges can be rectified or can be handled or can be addressed according to the law. So if you do not know the law, someone will take you for a ride. He will take you on and you will be stuck. There are some silly mistakes you're going to avoid just because you understand the law that is governing your industry, that is governing your business, that is governing more so money lending. So guys, as I close, I see our time is fast spent. As I close, I request you that you understand your industry, understand the law governing your industry, be on the top of your game, that even if you're not a lawyer, if you engage the law when you're informed, you'll have an edge and you even have a bargain with the lawyer if you understand the law than when you're ignorant of the law that is governing you. So I thank you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I always look forward. So I look forward to having you next Friday. Look out for my YouTube channel, John Nkandwanaho. You subscribe and you also click on that bell so that any video that gets uploaded, you can actually get notified that, you know what, there's a new video on board. Kindly look through. And secondly, check out our website for our great service, www.jonakeholdings.com. You can also apply online for loans. Things are getting advanced. You can apply online, and this majorly applies for return clients. You could be there, you're in Nairobi, you're out of the country, you're stuck, you want a top-up to clear your consignment or buy your product. Yeah, we can help. So you don't have to physically come to office sometimes. We can just serve you wherever you are in any part of the world. Technology has come to his life and we have to ride on it and thrive and grow. So go and make money, go and shine. As I borrow a comment from a colleague, you're not a matter. You're not running an NGO. Run a business that makes profits. Run a business that makes money. Go and be happy and have fun. Bless people, bless communities, help someone, uplift someone, and in a way, the Lord will lift you up. I speak a blessing over you. I speak a blessing over your business. And may the good Lord bless the works of your hands. Meet you at the top. Have a great day. Enjoy your Friday and the rest of the weekend. See you guys. Cheers and blessed evening.